Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here. We actually have a pretty big story that I spoke about last night on the live stream, and we're going to cover it again today. Raiders' Carl Nassib announces he's gay and NFL first. The Raiders' defensive lineman came out in a statement posted to his Instagram account on Monday, becoming the first active player in the league to publicly identify as gay. Let's have a watch to his statement, and then we'll discuss it after that. But this is actually a really big moment here.
I'm Carl Nassib. I'm at my house here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Just want to take a quick moment to say that I'm gay. I've been meaning to do this for a while now, but I finally feel comfortable enough to get it off my chest. I really have the best life. I got the best family, friends, and job a guy could ask for. I'm a pretty private person, so I hope you guys know that I'm really not doing this for attention. I just think that representation and visibility are so important. I actually hope that one day videos like this and the whole coming out process are just not necessary. But until then, I'm going to do my best and do my part to cultivate a culture that's accepting, that's compassionate. And I'm going to start by donating $100,000 to the Trevor Project. Amen. They're an incredible organization. They're the #1 suicide prevention service for LGBTQ youth in America. And they're truly doing incredible things. And I'm very excited to be a part of it, to help in any way that I can. And I'm really pumped to see what the future holds. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you have a great day. Work hard. What's up, people? I'm Carl Nassib.
Big news here. Okay, so this is big. Let's talk about it. This just has never happened before, and it's wild to think because in the world I come from, I both have an athletic background and also work in entertainment, where it's in entertainment. It's a very gay-friendly industry, and it's not like gay people don't do sports. There's a stigma attached to this sort of masculinity, and I believe we're getting to a point in our lives, in generationally speaking, where masculinity and sexual orientation don't need to be one versus the other. So he posts here, "Hey everyone, happy Pride Month. Right now I'm sitting in a moment of gratitude and relief. Sadly, I have agonized over this moment for the last 15 years. Only until recently, thanks to my family and friends, especially Connor, Kaysen, and Francis, did it seem possible for me to say publicly and proudly that I'm gay. I'm also incredibly thankful for the NFL, my coaches, and fellow players for their support. I would not have been able to do this without them. From the jump, I was greeted with the utmost respect and acceptance. I truly love my life and cannot understand why I have been blessed with so much. I feel especially thankful to have had so much support when many who came before and many even now do not. I stand on the shoulders of giants. Incredible people who paved the way for me to have this opportunity. I do not know all the history behind our courageous LGBTQ community, but I'm eager to learn and to help continue the fight for equality and acceptance." And then comments here from Gus Kentworthy. Congrats, so happy for you. Who will be, for lack of a better term, a gay mentor to Colton Underwood, who just came out of the closet as gay. Colton posted right below here, "Sending you love and support. This is amazing and huge for so many kids." Colton, of course, came out of the closet, played briefly in the NFL, but of course is known as being the Bachelor, living his heterosexual life, being homosexual, but denying that, in the public world. Andrew responded to Colton Underwood and said, "That's how you come out and make a positive difference, not getting a reality show to fuel your narcissism." Wow. That is and Colton, you're amazing too, and everyone I know in the LGBT community loves and supports you. So anyway, and then a vomit signal. So everyone's happy for Carl in the way he did it. Colton, not so much. But for Carl, donates $100,000 to the Trevor Project. I mean, really, really powerful stuff here. And he has support from other people in the community, which is great. Of course, there will be people who don't support. That's going to be on them to evolve with time and understand that there's a reason why this is a news story. There's a reason why this is a big deal. People say, "Wow, what's the matter? I like blondes. Who cares what he likes?" It's a news story, guys. And one day it'll be so normalized that it won't be a news story. Like, say, coming out of the closet if you work in theater. Not a news story, but it is here, okay? And that's just a market that we have to come to terms with, like a fan base and a collective industry that's not about living in the shadows and hiding from who you are. It's not going to change how he acts as a football player. He's not, maybe there'll be someone who talks trash to him on the other side of the line of scrimmage, but it's not going to change how he performs, how his teammates receive him, and all that jazz. It's just not. Las Vegas Raiders said, "Proud of you, Carl." And then let's see, what else do we have over here? The union representative said, "Our union supports Carl and his work with the Trevor Project. It's proof that he, like our mentorship, is about making his community in this world a better place, not for themselves, but for others." When sports are at their best, it's stories like these that get elevated. When they're at their worst, it's stories like people like Colin Kaepernick taking a knee for the national anthem, protesting police brutality, and then that being politicized into him being anti-military or the USA. Shut up and play. That whole thing. We'll always hear that. That's the biggest insult. Just shut up and play, or shut up and don't talk politics, or just shut up. People just want you to shut up when they don't necessarily agree with your opinions. And it's a very low energy place to come from, but we see it. You'll see it in the comment section here. Line up and play. I could care less about who someone chooses to sleep with. Their business, not mine. Well, sir or lady, ma'am, that's just not where it's at in society. It's Pride Month. There are people in other countries that can't come out as gay for fear of being killed. There are people in this country that are beaten to death, jumped, harassed, shootings. There's a long history of fighting for gay rights. So we're not there. So it's not shut up and play, okay? For you, it's shut up and listen. Okay, that's what it is. It's shut up and listen if you don't understand why this is a big deal. The next person said, "Personally, I don't care about him being gay, professional football, the news of this news. It doesn't matter. This is worthless tripe. If it helps someone, great, but I could not GAF. Well, it will help people. Young people commit suicide at a much higher rate when they're confused about their sexual orientation, when they think that there's no way out because they're shamed, because their dad says being gay is a weakness, or this or that. So while it might seem obvious to some people to go, oh no, we're okay with gay marriage, it's not that way normalized across the country, and we're just not there. To people that say, oh, this gay agenda is being shoved down our throats, that's just not what it is. Shut up and listen. So let's see, over here we have Michael Sam. If you've never heard this name before, depending on how much you know about the history of the coming out in the NFL, Michael Sam, we'll talk about Michael Sam. Exactly where does Michael Sam fit into NFL star Carl Nassib's historic coming out? Everyone is celebrating Carl Nassib of the Las Vegas Raiders for being the first active NFL player to come out as gay, but there's another former openly gay NFL player who say some is being left out of the conversation, Michael Sam. Nassib came out yesterday in a video posted on Instagram. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say I'm gay. We just showed that video. He made a $100,000 donation. We got that information. Almost immediately, Nassib was trending on Twitter, and not long after that, Sam was trending too. The former defensive end came out in 2014 and made history when he was drafted by the St. Louis Rams, although he never actually went on to make the roster, and there's still a lot of debate over whether his sexuality played a role in that. Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk writes, on one hand, Sam had been the Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC. On the other hand, he didn't have ideal size or speed to become a high-end NFL pass rusher. He almost wasn't drafted. Some in league circles still believe that then Rams coach Jeff Fisher made the pick at the behest of Commissioner Roger Goodell. After Fisher cut Sam, Peter King reported that the league called around to the various NFL teams to find a spot for Sam on a practice squad. Ultimately, the Cowboys did it, but Sam never made it to a 53-man roster. If you've ever watched Hard Knocks or know anything about football, you know that people can be a star in college and just not make the NFL. It's a different league. Tim Tebow was considered one of the greatest college football players of all time, and he didn't last long in the NFL. It just didn't translate. The level of competition is just up another level. So for Michael Sam, there was always the debate. Did he not make the team because he was gay, or did he not make it because he just wasn't the best? I try to think optimistically that teams, coaches, they just want to put a winning product on the field. So he just wasn't that. But, of course, there's always sinister motivations, and there might be teammates and other people within the within the community that weren't ready for that. He was a trailblazer. Or at least, but you would like to think that coaches and anyone who's deciding to put a team together would look above that and realize that, come on, the best players make the team, hands down. That's how it should be. Not always the case. Florio notes that impossible to know whether it would have been different for Sam if he weren't gay or if he had chosen to keep his sexuality private, but that he was always at risk of being cut, given where he landed on the roster as pick number 249 out of 256. So out of all the picks, out of 250 picks across all the different teams, he made it by just half, by seven picks. I mean, that's barely made it. Sam essentially gave up his dream of playing football to be the league and media's crash test dummy, as everyone in football's orbit pinballed through ways to have thoughtful and productive conversations about sexuality and acceptance in the locker room. Here's what FOLX on Twitter are saying. Here's what folks on Twitter are saying about it. I'm happy for Carl, but when Michael Sam came out, all this energy being displayed today, it wasn't the same for him. A lot has changed in the last 7 years. A lot has changed. While it seems like it's been a long, slow bend towards equality, and it still is, in process, it's amazing how many people have changed. I mean, we know that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama during the beginning running for president was still against gay marriage. The constituency wasn't there yet. And then some critical mass of people kind of said, you know what, this is ridiculous. And with the growth of social media, also grew the idea that, like, no. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Are you a good person? Equality for all. Gay marriage should be an equality for all. You should be able to be there at the deathbed in a hospital with the person you love. And if that means you need to be signing legal paperwork and share each other, in a union, then so be it. Dino Ramos said, shout out to Michael Sam. So Michael Sam now getting a little bit of love now, because this is important because, he did blaze a trail. He blazed a trail and he wasn't he'll be looked at, right now. Carl's getting the attention because he's been playing for 5 years. He's a no name. It's a big deal. But Michael Sam was a big deal before he even made it. Having flashbacks to the insane news circus around Michael Sam coming out, and it seems like an entirely crazy faraway era. It was 2014. Michael Sam was the first. He got chased out of the NFL. Let's not forget how the NFL did Michael Sam. I hope the NFL has Carl Nassib's back, and they don't do him like they did Michael Sam. Semi-related, I know lots of people, football people, think Michael Sam was bad and that was the end of the story, but I also don't think he truly got a fair shot at making an NFL roster. We might never agree on this, and that's fine, but I really do wish he'd come along a few years later. Not trying to shit on Nassib, but I remember Michael Sam coming out and he was essentially removed from the league. How Nassib comes out and everyone is happy for him. It's two different situations, but of course, I think we'll get a lot of this kind of sort of redundant with this take here. But of course, Michael Sam wasn't as well received as Carl Nassib is, and partly that might be because Carl Nassib's proven himself in the league already. I'm not sure. It doesn't make it right. This morning, the 31-year-old tweeted two statements. The first was a message of support for Nassib, and the second was a message of support to the LGBTQ community. Carl Nassib, thank you for owning your truth and especially your donation to the Trevor Project. LGBTQ people are more likely to commit suicide than heterosexuals. I hope and pray people will take note to this. Thank you again, Carl, and look forward to seeing you play on the field. Very well said, Michael Sam. He followed that up with another tweet, writing, to anyone young or old, black or white, straight or gay, being bullied by others, please know this. I stand with you in your time of need and in your hour of triumph. I am your friend and your brother. Even though I may never see you, hug you, or even kiss you, I love you. Very well said. Very well said by Michael Sam, a trailblazer coming out as gay before being drafted into the NFL, never quite realizing his dream to play in the NFL. And also a congratulations to Carl, who will have to follow the story. He says he's a private guy and he's not going to want to do too many interviews. I hope his play on the field is highlighted by, whatever. I hope he has a lot of happiness from coming out. You can almost see it in his eyes when he came out. I can't imagine what that burden is. I've had close friends come out of the closet to me, and I can only say that I imagine that the years of not quite living your authentic self, all that pain, that burden just immediately dissipates, and he can go on living his best life. I hope you guys can do that as well. Hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later on. More content coming my way. Bye, everyone.